allowance payable to public universities be applied to deserving members of CTAG, and an order that implementation of the completed staff audit exercise shall commence from 1st January 2023. Well, we still have on the line a labor expert, Austin Game, on Zoom to have a conversation on this. Says, as we were speaking earlier, you have monitored and followed the CTAG strike. Are their demands justified, especially the demand for the government to apply the agreed rate for university lecturers to them?
Yeah, more than deserving. That's what the arbitrator awarded, and so the employer has no choice than to apply it. And the federal were requested to ensure that an audit is done. I have seen the audit, and I think that the commission further directed that the audit as conducted by GTEC should be applied. And so any new attempt to give an interpretation by the employer on its own without reference to the arbitral awarding authority is a failure on their part. And I think that the teachers have been patient enough. That said, I wish they go back to school whilst the matter has been addressed, but because of the deep-seated perception of and mistrust against the employer, they are finding it difficult to adjust themselves to that. But I think following yesterday's meeting, they might likely accept to go back whilst the employer takes steps to pay the monies due them.
But sir, is Education Minister's directive to hold the payment of the July salaries for the teachers also justified, considering the NLC had already injuncted the strike?
Well, before the injunction imposed on them, there was an arbitration award, as you said, and justifiably they were right going on that legal strike. They were right, 100% right. The aftermath things are aftermath things and should not be used as a yardstick in measuring this. It is the poor leadership role of the employer that created the problem in the first place. As you said, this thing began far back 2022. So you can see the time lag and the fact that they have not been, open enough to help solve the problem. I don't know what they know, but when a matter of this nature, of people whose timeline by way of teaching and preparing to have examination is tailored, you don't joke with such things. So it's up to the employer to learn their lesson not to repeat this kind of mistakes again. But I think the teachers were justifiably right.
But say, how best should the NLC be handling issues like this? It is almost as if their first resolve is to secure a court injunction.
No, that was not the case. I was present. And I do know that it's the same NLC that went through the arbitration with them, awarded it. It is the failure on the part of the employer. Maybe the next step the NLC could have done was to, take the whip and whip the employer severely than they did. Maybe that. But normally these things, because it's industrial relations, it's a relationship matter. It's like you and your husband. If you have a problem, you don't break the marriage. You try and put the people together. And I think that's what they've been trying to do. So it's not entirely, indeed, it is not the fault of the NLC. They have done their part. It is the poor leadership role the employer played that created the problem.
Thank you very much, Austin Game. He is a labor expert, and he had a conversation with us on the ongoing CTAG strike. Well, there's been a lot of things happening with CTAG, but let's also go over some of the key demands of CTAG and the breakdown of the CTAG strike. So some of the orders are as follows. an order for the payment of 1 month's salary to each entitled member of CTAC as compensation for additional duties performed in 2022, and also an order that the agreed rate of allowance payable to public universities be applied to deserving members of CTAC. Also an order that implementation of the completed staff audit exercise shall commence from 1st January 2023. Away from the issues on education, barely 48 hours after the mid-year budget review, Parliament will on Thursday, July 25th, debate on the mid-year fiscal policy review of the budget statement and economic policy of the government. However, the minority caucus in Parliament has invited Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to participate in the 2024 mid-year budget review debate. According to the minority, the invitation to the Vice President is due to his role as the chairman of the economic management team.
Reinforces our commitment to navigate through global uncertainties and address domestic challenges. The government's unwavering dedication to maintain macroeconomic stability, promoting investment, and enhancing social protection programs continues to recall our objective of building back better. Mr. Speaker, it has become necessary to revise the 2024 macroeconomic framework due to recent domestic and global economic developments, including the impact of the deficit structure. Mr. Speaker, key revisions to the macro fiscal targets for 2024 include overall real GDP growth rate revised upwards from 2.8% to 3.1%. Non-oil real GDP growth rate is revised upwards from 2.1% to 2.8%. Growth in GDP deflator scaled down from 20.2% to 7.5%. Nominal overall GDP has been revised from 1.050 billion Ghana cedis, that is 1 trillion Ghana cedis, to 1.020 billion Ghana cedis. Now, all GDP has been revised from 979 billion Ghana cedis to 977 billion Ghana cedis. NPD health inflation remains unchanged at 15%. Private balance on commitment basis is maintained at a surplus of 0.5%. And gross international reserves, including oil funds and incumbent or pledged assets, to cover no less than 3 months of imports. 0.9% and 39.1% of the total debt stocks, respectively. As a percentage of GDP, external and domestic debt represented 43% and 27.6%, respectively. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's medium-term macroeconomic and financial outlook and prospects remain positive and favorable, despite the challenging global environment. The ongoing improvement in the implementation of the COVID-19 program for economic growth reinforces our commitment to navigate through global uncertainties and address domestic challenges. The government's unwavering dedication to maintain macroeconomic stability, promoting investment, and enhancing social protection programs continues to.
Joining us on phone is a governance expert, Dr. Frederick Odro, to have further conversations on this. Good afternoon, Dr. Frederick Odro. Hello, Doctor.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on ABC News Ghana.
Right.
Doctor, is it important for the Vice President to be present at the mid-year budget review debate happening today?
I don't see the relevance. You see, I have heard of a call on the by the minority side that the Vice President should come. Yes, legally, the Constitution allows the Vice President to go into the House to even participate in their deliberations. But if you study our constitutional development since 1993, virtually no Vice President has visited the House to participate in anything beyond the State of the Nation addresses and the likes. It's only Vice President Bawumia who's chosen to be present in a couple of annual budget presentations. He has never been a participant in terms of making a statement or contribution in that in the House. In as much as legally he can do it if he chooses. Now, don't forget, he's been elevated to the position of a flag bearer of a major political party. And in this election, it's either going to be NDC or MPP that's going to win the election. So if there is going to be any serious debate, it must be between the flag bearers and even their running mates. But certainly not for a flag bearer of a political party to go to the House, where you know how sometimes parliamentarians can be very unruly towards each other. And I think it's unbecoming of a Vice President to descend to the level of participating in that. I don't expect him to. And if I were to advise him, I'll tell him to brush that aside.
So, Doctor, if I heard you right, you're saying it is not an obligation for Dr. Bawumia to be present.
He doesn't have to do it. I mean, there is no precedent for that. There is no precedent in our history for that. So I think it's just a mischievous goal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Frederick Odro. He is a governance expert. Well, still in Parliament, the government, through the Finance Ministry, has disclosed it will reintroduce the road toll after its cessation in 2021. The Finance Minister, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, announced that Cabinet has approved a framework to guide the implementation process of the reintroduction of tolls in 2025. The Karaga lawmaker made this announcement on Tuesday, July 23, 2024, while presenting the 2024 mid-year budget review to Parliament. My colleague Ruth Sechi has the rest of the story.
On November 8, the former Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amwakun Atta, directed the cessation of toll collection on major roads and bridges across the country. The directive came after the former Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, announced during his 2022 budget presentation that road tolls had been abolished, a directive the minority in Parliament criticized and described as misguided. According to the ranking member of the Parliament's Roads and Transport Committee, Kwame Agboja, the country was projected to lose 10 million Ghana cedis in road tolls within the same year of the cessation. The Speaker of Parliament further directed the sector minister to reverse his decision to suspend the collection of road tolls. To address the issue of deplorable roads, government introduced the electronic levy as a replacement for the road toll. However, a continuous objection by the minority in the approval of the levy impacted the intended plan. According to the government, it only suspended the operationalization of the road toll and not the law, adding that there were considerations to reintroduce it in an automated and digital format. Earlier this year, the Vice President and leader of the ruling NPP during a campaign tour in the Volta region called for the broadened road toll system to fund the development of the nation's road infrastructure. But after almost 3 years of the cessation to road tolls, the government has announced the reintroduction of the road toll in 2025, a move that has far seen extensive consideration and consultation among key stakeholders. Addressing Parliament on Tuesday, July 23, 2024, the Finance Minister and Karaga legislator Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam disclosed that the Cabinet has approved a framework to guard the implementation and operationalization process.
The establishment of a framework for the reintroduction of road and bridge tolls in 2025.
Joining us on the line is the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Toll Workers Union, Edward Duncan, for more interactions. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us here on ABC News.
I'm grateful. Thank you for having me.
Sir, how did the union welcome this news on the reintroduction of road tolls?
Well, first of all, let me say good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and then to all Ghana Toll Workers Union members, and to tell them to stay resolute. Now, I mean, we have said from when the government decided to scrap toll collections, we said in all the petitions that we sent to them in Parliament that the reasons they gave was unnecessary. I mean, it didn't warrant them scrapping tolls collections. So over the months now, we've heard calls from government functionaries, from people who matter in this, even concerned drivers union have called for the reintroduction of tolls. So if now, I mean, quite recently, even the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, also said that tolls will be introduced. So if the Finance Minister on the floor of Parliament has said in the media budget review that tolls will be introduced, we are happy about it. However, what we are not happy about is the fact that a condition was laced to it. The condition being when the tolls will be reintroduced in 2025. We know that this year is an election year. We have said on several platforms our number and the votes that we carry. Our number, our loved ones, people who we can influence to vote in one way or the other. And then we believe that government functionaries have picked up that information, and so but we're running, I mean, the workers, we're about 800, we have families, we have loved ones. So if you put us all together, we're about 3,000 to 4,000. We have said it on many platforms. So we believe that the government functionaries have picked it up, and they feel like they have to say something so that those votes will come to them. I mean, and then also we have also said on other platforms, when we had the opportunity to meet the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I mean, he tabled to us the plans that he have for toll collections in the country, and we know that we have a place in his regime as former toll good workers to go back to work again. So we have also said this on platforms, and we believe the government has heard it, and they feel like they need to come up with something so that instead of voting against them, we will vote for them. But this will not wash. I mean, the government has promised it on several occasions, and they have disappointed us. If viewers will recall, in the wake of the closure, they promised us that they are going to pay us every month. And then they also went on to promise that they are going to find alternate livelihood for us. All these two promises, they have failed to deliver. So what is the guarantee that this 2025 reintroduction of toll that they have said or promised will come to pass? I mean, they will fulfill that promise. So we are not moved by this, even though we know that whatever the case is, toll collection will be introduced. We know that if this MPP government does not introduce it, the next NDC government will introduce it through the interaction that we had with especially the former president. So yes, we are not moved by this, unless actually, even if that will move us, unless we actually have an engagement with the people in authority, people who matter, and they make us, I mean, we see a roadmap, we see the plans that they have. We know that most of the toll plazas have been damaged. So we're going to repair it. You're going to repair it. Okay, let's see. Okay, in a month or two, I want to repair all the toll booths. This is the amount of money available for me to do that work. So after 2 months, I expect that all the booths or all the plazas will be refurbished. And then we know that, okay, the government is serious about reintroducing tolls. Until or unless that conversation or those documents we get to see it, or we are privy to those information, we really do not believe what the government is saying.
Plans for the union to meet the finance minister on key concerns on how to manage tolls.
Could you repeat that again, please?
Are there plans for the union to meet the finance minister on the key concerns on how to manage tolls?
Currently, not. Our engagement will be with the Ministry of Roads and Highways. We have plans to meet the Chief Director of Ministry of Roads and Highways. What it is that the Finance Ministry, in the wake of the closure, we made several attempts to have a meeting with the then Finance Minister, but it was not fruitful. So, and then we were redirected to the ministry, because what they said, the excuse they gave was that we fall directly under the Ministry of Roads and Highways, so we should deal with the ministry and not the Finance Ministry. So since then, all our correspondence has been with the Ministry of Roads and Highways and the minister then. So we had several meetings with the former Minister for Roads and Highways, and we've had two meetings with the current Minister for Roads and Highways. What we want, we have not been able to get it from all the engagement that we've had. So, but we will take the next step. In the wake of this news, we are going to see the Chief Director of the Ministry of Roads and Highways and see the way forward. But like I said, this government has disappointed us in so many times. So even though we are taking those steps, hoping that something good will come out of it, really, we are a bit skeptical if anything good will come out of it.
Thank you very much, Edward Duncan, and he is from the toll booth workers. Away from that, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, has declared 3 individuals wanted for their involvement in an ongoing investigation related to corruption and corruption-related offences. The persons involved are Anthony JC, 34, Francis Asari, 27, and Sadia Al-Hassan, 41. The OSP is urging the public to assist by reporting any information on the whereabouts of these individuals. Any information regarding the whereabouts of these persons should be reported to the OSP at 055 44 94499 or 055 44 844 88. According to the OSP, all individuals are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Over 200 flood victims in Degome to be resettled in newly built structure in the coming week as part of VRA Emergency Preparedness Plan. flood victims of Dagome Mepe in the Volta region still living in tents will in the coming days be resettled in newly built safe houses, according to the North Tongue DCE Divine Osborne Tongu. These structures are near completion to accommodate the affected victims. It will be recalled in September last year, the VRA spilled excess water from the Akosombo Dam due to a significant rise in inflow and high water levels. The spillage affected numerous districts, displacing over 30,000 locals and destroying properties including farms and homes. The government, together with the VRA, have since initiated several intervention programs to ameliorate the hardship being grappled by the affected communities. As part of yet another impending spillage, the VRA in the past 3 weeks has been carrying out a series of community engagements aimed at having all 10 districts found south of the Akosombo Dam duly informed about its emergency preparedness plan. However, the VRA says the impending spillage will cause a minimal damage with a spilled water volume of about 5,000 cubic feet per second. Well, we've been joined over the line by the District Chief Executive of North Tongue, Divine Osborne Fenu. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us here on ABC News Ghana.
Yeah, thank you too.
The VRA has been engaging you and the community leaders, local assemblies and electoral areas on its preparedness plan ahead of the spillage. What is this plan?
Thank you. VRA started their annual engagement, community engagement to inform all of us about their operations. And so we had ours about 3 weeks ago, involving stakeholders, chiefs, and all other people concerned, assembly members, the police, immigration, fire service, ambulance, all those people were part of the engagement. And it went successfully well. But you mentioned 5,000 cubic feet per second. That is not correct. Their presentation, if they will spill, it will be a precautionary spill at 50,000 cubic feet per second. And that is if there is a need to spill, they will start from that 50,000. So, and that will be minimal. When they show the map to all of us, it's within the channels of the river. And so, at the next point when VRA will spill, they will come to engage us and then tell us where areas that are likely to be affected. And so that people who may be affected will know the areas and then move to safer places. So that is just about engagement and other issues.
Okay, sir, how many of these flood victims, particularly at Dagome living in tents, are yet to be resettled in these new structures?
I will have to get the actual number and give you, but there are not many. And so currently VRA has started some project which is about to be completed. And then we intend taking all of them into those rooms, and then we'll take the tanks away from there. So I'm sure yesterday I was there to look at the project. Roofing is ongoing, painting is also being done, and I'm sure that by close of next week, that project, next week or two, that project will be completed.
Okay, sir, how responsive have the community members been to the sensitization program?
People express their concerns and their views with the way they want to, and answers were provided by all stakeholders. Those who seek understanding or clarity on certain issues were also addressed. Those issues were also addressed, and so everybody spoke frankly, and I think it was a very successful engagement, and it helped everybody. Those who needed certain information all got them.
But sir, what assurance did the VRA give you regarding its intentions to cause a minimal damage?
Well, VRA said they've not taken any decision to spill yet, and so they are monitoring the volumes of water that is coming to the dam. If there is a need to spill, that decision has not been taken as to which particular day they will spill. But even if they will do it will be a precautionary one. And so that assurance is given to all of us. We had an understanding. And so I believe that, as you indicated earlier, we were praying and hoping that they go by the word and the things don't go the way it went last year.
Thank you very much, sir. That is Divine Osborne, the DCE of North Hong, Divine Osborne Fenu. Away from issues of the VRA, the Minister for Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, has debunked claims of the ministry's involvement in securing visas for the group purporting to be Ghana's Paralympic team for a supposed marathon event in Oslo, Norway. This comes on the back of a recent statement issued by the National Security reporting of an 11-member Paralympic team absconding after reaching Norway. One person has been arrested while one person reported dead, leaving 9 others on the run. Now let's do some business stories. Barely 3 days after the presentation of 2024 mid-year budget review by Finance Minister Mohamed Amin Adam, calls by Ghanaians for the scrapping of the COVID-19 levy have intensified. The levy, which was introduced as a temporary measure to generate revenue and address fiscal challenges worsened by the pandemic, has not been abolished. Critics argue that the payment of the levy continued to burden already strained households and enterprises. However, the government rejecting calls to scrap the tax. Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abna Osei Asari, on Wednesday, July 24, appeared before Parliament's Public Accounts Committee and stated that the government still needs the revenue to address lingering financial fallout from the pandemic, including vaccine cost.
The vaccines have a lifespan, so you cannot buy them 2-3 years and then you use them. So if we still have vaccines in the system, clearly it tells you that yes, vaccines are being procured to help boost the immunity of our citizens.
Yeah, we are buying more, bringing them. Just tell me that. Now we are buying new ones.
I cannot say we are buying new ones or we are bringing more. All I said was that the COVID-19 levy is being used to address the effects of COVID. COVID has left, but COVID has some effects that we still have to address. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
The vaccines have a lifespan, so you cannot buy them 2-3 years and then you use them. So if we still have vaccines in the system, clearly it tells you that yes, vaccines are being procured to help boost the immunity of our citizens.
Yeah, we are buying more, bringing them. Just tell me that. Now we are buying new ones.
I cannot say we are buying new ones or we are bringing more. All I said was that the COVID-19 levy is being used to address the effects of COVID. COVID has left, but COVID has some effects that we still have to address. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
The vaccines have a lifespan, so you cannot buy them 2-3 years and then you use them. So if we still have vaccines in the system, clearly it tells you that yes, vaccines are being procured to help boost the
So just answer my question that yeah, we are buying more, bringing them. Just tell me that. Now we are buying new ones.
I cannot say we are buying new ones or we are bringing more. All I said was that the COVID-19 levy is being used to address the effects of COVID. COVID has left, but COVID has some effects that we still have to address. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
The vaccines have a lifespan, so you cannot buy them 2-3 years and then you use them. So if we still have vaccines in the system, clearly it tells you that yes, vaccines are being procured to help boost the
So just answer my question that yeah, we are buying more, bringing them. Just tell me that. Now we are buying new ones.
I cannot say we are buying new ones or we are bringing more. All I said was that the COVID-19 levy is being used to address the effects of COVID. COVID has left, but COVID has some effects that we still have to address. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
The vaccines have a lifespan, so you cannot buy them 2-3 years and then you use them. So if we still have vaccines in the system, clearly it tells you that yes, vaccines are being procured to help boost the
So just answer my question that yeah, we are buying more, bringing them. Just tell me that. Now we are buying new ones.
We'll be back with more stories after this break.
Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the third season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054 955 4148 to register. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 is here. ScanBrain Limited, organizers of the Best Inventor Ghana, has opened registration for the third season of this innovative show. Who can enter? Manufacturers of innovative solutions for daily use. Winner goes home with 5,000 Ghana cedis. First runner-up with 3,000 Ghana cedis. And second runner-up with 2,000 Ghana cedis. The show will be broadcast on ABC News Ghana Television. Best Inventor Ghana Season 3 begins on the 21st of September 2024 at the Assembly Hall of the St. John's Grammar School. Registration is open to everyone. Call us now on 054 955 4148 to register. Best Inventor.
Now let's do some sports. Crowd trouble forced the first football match of the Olympics to be suspended for nearly 2 hours amid chaotic and worrying scenes, with the game eventually completed in an empty stadium. Morocco had been 2-0 ahead against Argentina, who pulled a goal back and were pushing for an equalizer. Christian Medina then appeared to have made it 2-2 in the 16th of what had been 15 scheduled minutes of injury time at the end of the second half. Cups and bottles were then thrown at the celebrating Argentina side before what appeared to be a flare landed near the players and coaching staff. A number of fans in Morocco colors then invaded the pitch and the referee suspended. It was unclear whether the match had been classed as finished, but it was then revealed the final 3 minutes would be played in an empty stadium with no fans present. Well, let's speak to Dr. Ishmael Hlovo, who is on the line to speak about the Ghana Paralympics issues happening currently. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
What are the potential diplomatic repercussions for Ghana following these incidents?
Thank you. In terms of diplomacy, what it will mean is that the Norwegians may be more careful when granting visas to Ghanaians who want to travel. It also means that if we present genuine sportsmen and women who are going to represent this nation, then the embassy will have to take a lot of time to scrutinize those who are presenting and be sure that they are genuine sportsmen. So over time, it makes it difficult for the Norwegian embassy to quickly process visas for sportsmen and women, and also ordinary Ghanaians who want to travel. But of course, the relation between Ghana and Norway is quite stable, and this issue would not affect how they deal with us. But in terms of how they process our visas, if this continues, and of course, this is not the first time it's happening, other nations will quickly begin to view with suspicion most of the documents that we are presenting to the embassies in Ghana for processing for visas and so forth and so on. So yes, the difficulty here is that if we do not investigate this issue and then hold those at the Ghana side of the event that are culpable, it sends that signal that we actually do not really care about what some of these issues. And as I said, over time, it makes it more difficult for sportsmen, genuine sportsmen who want to travel, to have access to visa, sometimes on time, to enable them travel. Because one of the reasons why the embassy may have overlooked some of the protocols that exist for all these things is because they are acting under maybe the assumption that the visa is needed quickly for the team to travel and participate in the event. So we must, although there's clearly some lapses on the part of the embassy, we must also take steps to ensure that in future this doesn't happen.
So what are some of the steps the Ghanaian government can take to mitigate the negative effects on its international image?
The one is that we have to cooperate with the Norwegians. Whatever information we have about the real people who have left Ghana, we need to provide it as quickly as possible to them. And if they needed any form of assistance, I think that the Ministry of Sports, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and of course the Federation should be able to provide them with better details to enable them continue their search for those who are still out there. And as Ghanaians, I insist that we need to investigate this matter thoroughly and then bring out the report about the investigation, make that report public, make that report known to the international community, punish those who are found guilty of aiding in this this activity, and then give the international community a clear roadmap of how we intend to prevent a future occurrence. That will give some assurances to the international community that this is not who we are, that this is just some one-off lapse on our part, and that we have the systems in place to deal with it. But we must also look through the various federations and try to close any loophole that may be there for future people like this to try to exploit.
Thank you very much, Ishmael. So away from sports, let's take a look at what is happening in the international front. On the international front, at least 25 people have died and more than 195 are missing after a boat carrying migrants capsized near Mauritania's capital, Nouakchott. The International Organization for Migration announced on Wednesday the Mauritanian Coast Guard has rescued 120 people since their boat capsized on Monday, including unaccompanied and separated children, according to the International Organization for Migration. Rescue efforts are underway to locate the missing. A statement released by the International Organization for Migration noted the tragedy took place amid increasing migration through what it referred to as the West Atlantic route. It said that so far in 2024 alone, more than 19,700 migrants had arrived irregularly in the Canary Islands using this route, compared to just 7,590 during the same period in 2023. It said its missing migrants project had recorded more than 4,500 deaths and disappearances on this route since 2014, including over 1,950 deaths last year, the second deadliest on record. Since June 2024, more than 76 boats with around 6,130 surviving migrants have disembarked in Mauritania, with at least 190 dead and missing migrants, is said. Some entertainment. In entertainment, popular Ghanaian female rapper Eno Baroni is advocating for the introduction of a Female Artist of the Year segment at the Telecel Ghana Music Awards. She has emphasized her belief that this addition would significantly benefit women in the music industry. Eno Baroni is of the view that acknowledging female talent with a separate category would not only offer essential support but also establish a more inclusive and fair environment. She urged award organizers to seriously consider this suggestion, highlighting the potential to raise the profile of female artists and enhance the music scene in Ghana. A lot of females keep coming into the music scene, and that category will surely come, just that we need the push from the media. There should be support for the females, especially those in the rap game, because the louder they become, the more the category will be created for them, she said. Before we wrap up the bulletin, let's take a recap of our top stories. leadership of the College of Education Teacher Association, CTAC, is meeting its member today on their prolonged strike after engaging the Education Minister. Also, affected residents of the Akosombo Dam spillage to be resettled in newly built structures. That's all for the bulletin today. Thank you for staying with us. You can follow us on all our social media handles at ABC News Ghana. I am Jennifer Sumwa. Good afternoon.